If my math is correct, there's only 4 games remaining in the regular season. That is insane. And perhaps the biggest one is coming up Tuesday. But right now, I got the man. No. They're not booing. They're Kruging, folks. Larry Krueger, host of the Krueg Show, and we're going to break down tonight's game against the Jazz and start previewing the postseason. It's just around the corner. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. It's where we're exclusively live. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code, all lowercase, LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. You can follow the host of the Krueg Show, one of the most viewed and listened to programs covering sports in the San Francisco Bay Area, on Twitter at SportsLarryK. You are a legend, sir, in the Bay Area sports scene and beyond. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads at DogWild. Larry, great to see you, my man. It's been a little while since you've been on the program. Yeah. Good to see you. We're going to collaborate right after this. So once the half hour is up here, we're going to continue the programming with the Krueg Show. But for now, I got you here on Locked On Warriors. How the hell are you doing, brother? And your immediate reaction to the Warriors winning a game they definitely should have won, and they took care of business as expected, 118-110.
Well, I mean, I think we all expected it, right? Utah's in a free fall. What were they, 2-23 or something like that in their last 25 games?
Were they really?
But no Steph, no Wiggins, and you just never know. But I mean, there were a lot of heroes tonight. I loved what I saw from JK. Loved what I saw from Pods. Loved what I saw from TJD. There was a lot of good stuff there. I mean, I guess the guy that really stands out to me is Kuminga, because he hadn't played in a while, and it's like he just, when you can play as fast and as athletic as he can, and still be mentally under control and dialed in on what's the high percentage look, man, that's a valuable player. I'm so glad they didn't trade him, because he at times demonstrates such high level ability. And I thought tonight he was phenomenal.
It's incredible that people still will bring up Kuminga's name in trade talks. It's like, what are you thinking? Like, he's one of the best players on this team. He's only 21 years old. The most exciting part of Kuminga, I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, and just to catch people up, he's missed 6 games. So a huge reason why he's a talking point is not only that he showed no signs of rust. His stat line for the night in this game, 21 points, second on the team in scoring, but it wasn't just the points that stood out. It was maybe more importantly the rebounding. He added 10 boards, had 4 assists, had a block, 9 of 11 from the field. But again, this kid's ceiling, we don't know what it's going to be. And that's the part that excites me the most. 2 years from now, 5 years from now, this kid could have like Hall of Fame potential. And so to discuss trading him, man, that is just crazy talk. I see that little sector, that little of Dub Nation and NBA fans discussing that. That's the crazy corner, folks. Because would you agree with that? I mean, would you ever entertain the thought of trading Kuminga outside of someone like a Luka Doncic or some huge name like that? Would you ever consider it?
Well, I mean, so I guess I understand it, because it's like he is the guy that would fetch a big name. So if you want to talk about big names, you got to throw him out there. But let's not ignore what we're seeing. I mean, I think Fitz said it tonight. Tonight was his only game all year with that many points, assists, and rebounds. He had 4 assists. To me, it's like he had a couple plays today that were amazing. One was there were like 3 guys headed to the bucket, and they all got kind of thwarted, and then they came to him, it circled back to him, and he just was electric with the left hand right to the backboard and laid it in. That play, and then combined with the other play where he drove in and then saw the defender right there and then just dropped it down. I think it was to Trace Jackson. No, it might have been GP2 for the bunny or the dunk. I mean, he's playing at a really, really high level. We know he can defend. He's got the unbelievable skills to defend. He's an above the rim player, but now he's mentally just totally, dialed in on what the high percentage play is. And man, how many guys in the league can touch the top of the backboard and are mentally dialed in and can play efficiently in the half court? He's spectacular, man.
100% agree, and I totally hear what you're saying too in terms of, because that is the reasoning behind his name coming up in any of these, even though like he can't trade a player till the offseason, but he's one of the only players that would that has value, would bring back value. But again, to anyone who ever discusses trading Kuminga, mention who would come back, right? I mean, because otherwise I don't want to entertain that discussion ever. But if you actually are coming up with a name that could come back, and never mind the fact that even if he gets a contract extension that's big dollars this offseason, that's not going to kick in for another 2 years. So you still have him on this incredibly cheap rookie deal. And, and for the talent he brings, again, it better be a top level type of guy that's going to, partner with Steph to make you a championship contender. Otherwise, I'm not considering that. I would not even contemplate that. And again, Steph was out today because of rest. The Warriors have just 4 games remaining. Larry, we're scoreboard watching right now because we're taping this at 8:05 right now. That's the time, Pacific time on a Sunday night. And I'm scoreboard watching the Lakers and the Timberwolves because that game is really significant. And the Timberwolves lead that game right now. They're in LA. They're about to go into the half. 76-64 is the score. LA's given up nearly 80 first half points. It's now 79-64 to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Larry, in your opinion, how big is this game on Tuesday, man? It might be the biggest game of the year. If Minnesota holds on, the Warriors are playing for the chance to leapfrog the Lakers and take the 9 seed, where they hopefully will hold on to it at that point. How big is it, man? Does it matter to you if the Warriors are on the road for that 9-10 game, which is in all likelihood what's going to happen? Is it as big as I think it is? What are your thoughts on that Tuesday game?
Well, no, it's huge. I mean, home court is big and can be the deciding factor. I mean, Golden State has got, they've won titles on the road. So it's hard to sit there and be like, oh my God, they can't win on the road. But it's about playing the odds. And if you can play at home, you got a much, I mean, here's the weird thing. Golden State's got a better road record than home record, right?
Yeah.
And Golden State struggled to win at home all year. But you still want these playoff, any playoff game, you want that at home. So I think it's significant. I mean, the one thing I'll say this, if I was Steve Kerr, I would tell Golden State on Monday night, watch Purdue. Why? Because Purdue in the college game has perfected the ability to defend with intensity without fouling. And that's really what Golden State needs to conquer at this. I mean, tonight they won because they shot so well, but I mean, turnovers and foul shots. It's like the Lakers, Fitz was joking about how many free throws the Lakers get. It's a crazy amount of free throws that they get. So, I know we're not necessarily talking about Warriors, Lakers. We're talking about Lakers, T-Wolves, but I'm just saying, if Golden State can just stay in rhythm, they got some guys playing well. Klay Thompson looked great tonight. They got a feel good going, and if they can defend without fouling, I think that's their key.
Yeah, we'll talk about Klay for sure because he had a great game. Are you talking about, wait, when you say Purdue, you're talking about the Purdue Boilermakers, like the college team?
Yeah, they never foul. I mean, it's amazing. They defend with intensity, but they never foul. And Golden State, it can't be if Golden State's going to lose, they're going to lose with a parade to the foul line against them. So they got to just figure out a way to see if they can defend. Now it's totally different refs, totally different games, so on and so forth. But I liked the 1-2-2 zone tonight. I would like to see Golden State, defend without fouling and not cross that line and not make it a parade of free throws.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree with this or not. And when we come back, I'd love to hear your answer. But we've seen the NBA in the last month and a half, 2 months, have this shift in terms of officiating where most of the 50-50 calls, the whistle's not being blown now. You've seen this affect certain players in a negative manner. James Harden is one that comes to mind. Any player that feasts on the free throw line is suffering as a result of this. But on the other side of the coin, you have a team like the Warriors who never got calls to begin with, and I feel like it's helping them. I'm in a substantial manner. And I'd love to know if you agree or disagree with that notion. Draymond Green suddenly, I mean, that the rules are favoring him tremendously because he's not being on the verge of fouling out nearly every night. I remember him being in foul trouble a lot more frequently than lately. And I'm just curious to know if you agree with that or not. We're obviously going to talk about Klay Thompson. The season's coming down to the wire. We got 4 games remaining. A lot to discuss with the man, the myth, the legend, Larry Krueger. First up, though, let's pay some bills. And first up on the agenda for our incredible lineup of sponsors is Prize Picks. Larry, have you ever played Prize Picks?
Yeah.
Is it well? What are your thoughts on it? Because I adore the game. I think it is so much fun. It's legal in California. What are your thoughts on Prize Picks?
Oh, it's anything that adds a little, a little juice to the game is always fun.
Absolutely.
And that's really what it is.
And what's bizarre, in years past, Stephen Curry would be one of those players that in a game like Prize Picks would almost always be one of those certainties, right? And he's won me a lot of money in Prize Picks over the years. This season, though, it's been a hit or miss. They put his line so high, they almost always set it like 29.5. And that's the whole premise of Prize Picks. It's you're choosing a more than or less than situation. In Stephen Curry's example, if it's points, it's almost always going to be 29.5. And it's really hard to bet against Steph when it comes to points, but that total's been going on the below side a lot this year. But regardless, it's super fun. It's daily fantasy made easy. They've got some incredible promos. March, for example, is over. We're in April now, but the biggest moments in college basketball tip off in the month of April. We just saw incredible excitement on the women's side. The men's Final Four is coming up. Be a part of the action on Prize Picks for both men's and women's college basketball, although now it is just men's. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, and college basketball entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. So one more time, download the app today and use the code. I actually haven't said this before. Locked on NBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Now, one more time, download the app today and use the code Locked on NBA for a first deposit match up to $100.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and do you have to turn down the volume because of all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And there's other content out there, chief among them, the Krueg Show. Subscribe to it on YouTube. What's your number right now, by the way, man? I feel like every time I talk to you, you gain like 5,000 new subscribers. What is the Krueg Show up to right now?
We're closing in on 41,000.
Jesus Christ. Congratulations, bro. Oh, my God.
It's mostly because of screaming and yelling.
You're treating when we go out to lunch or dinner next time. And you can follow Larry Krueger on Twitter at SportsLarryK. Larry, man, how has officiating been treating the Warriors? Have you noticed the change? Because I have. I love it. And I think it's helping the Warriors. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a thought from the league that they don't want disjointed, boring basketball and such. They want flow. And the Warriors, have always played with flow. So I think in a lot of ways, the Warriors are probably an example of what the league covets. And I agree. I mean, this this endless, flopping and kind of trying to draw fouls and go to the line. It's like it's really goes directly against the flow of the game that the league and the people who run the league want to see. So I think it is
Mhm.
kind of advantage Warriors, and it also it's a disadvantage to anybody who loves to just kind of grapple and live at the line. If you're one of those old guys who's just kind of holding on, trying to bump into people and they don't want that. They want athleticism and ball movement and body movement and flow and it's a lot more. They're concerned about the how their product is displayed, and so they
Mhm.
want to eradicate that. And they've basically told the officials, don't play that game, don't fall into it. And I like it.
I'm absolutely with you, man. And and especially with the NBA. I'm sorry, they've got a new media rights deal. They're negotiating right now. Anything to improve the product is going to be at the top of the agenda. I absolutely love it, man. They're letting them play more, and for a Warriors team that routinely is at the bottom. Last year they were 30th in free throw attempts. It ain't going to get much worse for them. So I think in this case it helps a lot. Klay Thompson, man, in a night where Stephen Curry was getting rest and rightfully so, with the postseason just around the corner, he has looked tired. I don't think there's any debate on that. Steve Kerr has said as much publicly. So the impetus tonight, particularly much more so, was on Klay Thompson. He had a fantastic game, especially in the first half. He had a more quiet type of ball in the second half, but his first half numbers, I want to read those real fast. Because the Warriors had 41 first quarter points, I believe 68 points in the first half. And Klay in that first half scored 25 points. He was 5 of 9 from beyond the arc. He shot lights out. He was on a heater. He had numerous heat checks in this game. Finished with 32 points. Cooled off a little bit. Your thoughts on Klay tonight and on the season as we approach the postseason?
Well, he's such a key guy for them because he's a guy that how he's feeling rubs off on the rest of the team. And when he even though he's a veteran and you would think that he's played in so many games that he wouldn't get up or down, he does get up or down. And you can see that, in the second half, I thought he was kind of forcing it a little bit. In the first half, I mean, he just Klay having fun playing ball. So yeah, I thought we were at half. I thought, man, are we gonna be in for like an epic Klay, night? I don't know if we're ever getting, the true, like I was there for the 37-point quarter against Sacramento. I mean, I don't know if we're ever gonna get that again, but you always have the hope. And I love it. I love the combination of this team sharing the ball and then this team looking for Klay. And without Steph, there's more looks for Klay. So I think it's really really important that Klay feels good about himself and that he's in great rhythm and feeling great. I think it's really vital for them and may be the key factor in them and their ability to get out of the play-in.
I'm muted. Sorry. Yeah, they're absolutely going to need him in the postseason, no doubt. I mean, if he's not the number 2 option offensively, I know Kuminga can show up, but he's also incredibly young. He's never. No, I take that back. I was going to say he's never started playoff games, but he started the year they won the title. But regardless, I don't know if he's quite there yet to be the number 2 guy. You brought up Sacramento, and I know we have a lot of fun on your show, the Krueg Show, with Kings fans. The Warriors' little brother, as I like to call him. Your brother is a Kings fan. They're reeling, man. Have you paid attention to the free fall that is the Sacramento Kings? They're on the verge of dropping. I mean, the Lakers and the Kings are tied in the loss column. They have a 2-game lead over the Warriors. Unfortunately for the Warriors, the Kings will own the tiebreaker because of division record. But nonetheless, man, if it's Warriors Kings in the play-in, and you're a Warriors fan, I mean, you're not feeling bad about that, right? What are your thoughts on the Kings and just how
No.
far they've fallen?
Well, I mean, last year, we talked about them last year, and they were on the verge. But the thing is, they were healthy last year. Now you got Herder; he's done for the year. Monk
Mm-hmm.
done for the year. HB's been a 0 most of the year. They're looking for offense from Davion Mitchell. I mean, it's Sacramento's, if the Warriors get Sacramento in the first round or in the play-in or whatever, Warriors are taking down Sacramento. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah,
I'm
with you.
Malik Monk was the key guy for them last year, and you're going to take him out, and you're expecting to beat Golden State. Now, some of these other guys for them have played well, Keegan and some of their, obviously Sabonis, but I think Warriors Kings is major advantage Golden State.
Totally agree with you. And when we come back, I want to talk about the two rookies, Brandin Podziemski, Trayce Jackson-Davis. Larry, I really think this recent rise for the Golden State Warriors, where it's not a coincidence that it coincides with Trayce Jackson-Davis starting and playing significant minutes. I mean, you're seeing a vast difference in the Warriors when they have actual size out there. It's a shame it's taken this long for this to happen, but I'd love to get your perspective on that. And I saw some fascinating stats when it comes to Brandin Podziemski tonight. The rookie is just having a great year. I mean, he should make the all-NBA rookie team. I hope that happens. I think it would be a gross injustice if he didn't. So we'll talk about those things and wrap up the show as we come to you immediately following a 118-110 victory for the Golden State Warriors over the Utah Jazz. First up, let's give some love to our other sponsor for the night, and that is... Where's my overlay? There it is, LinkedIn. And I always tell my students, my day job, besides hosting this program, is teaching the bright young minds of our society how to become journalists and how to become ethical, successful, professional journalists. And one thing I tell them, and it's not journalists, by the way, it's not just journalists that are my students. I get PR practitioners, those aspiring to get into advertising. And what I tell all of them is if you're not on LinkedIn, you're behind the curve. It is the spot to go to if you're trying to find a job, but also if you're a small business owner, if you're an entrepreneur looking for talent, that's where you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn is not just another job board. They've got a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all of that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Go check it out. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
One final segment of Locked On Warriors. Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. For the everydayers at the latest, we're back at this Tuesday night. That is a colossally huge game, possibly the biggest of the year for the Golden State Warriors when they travel to Crypto to take on the LA Lakers. And Larry, another reason, first of all, people can follow you, Larry, on Twitter at SportsLarryK. Make sure you subscribe to the Krueg Show on YouTube. 41,000 strong and counting. That's incredibly impressive. Among many, even though the Warriors are road warriors this year, that's the nickname they've gotten, and rightfully so, when you consider the fact that last year they won 11 games on the road. Pitiful. This year, 23-16. Absolutely incredible. That's the second best road record if the Warriors were in the Eastern Conference behind just the Celtics. Here in the West, you're tied with the Mavericks, the Clippers, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets. They all have. Well, actually, no, the Warriors have a better road record than the Nuggets, actually. The point is, the Warriors are incredible on the road, so at home. They're now a game above 500 at home, but it still doesn't make me comfortable if the Warriors play in LA just because Steph struggles there. Klay struggles there. We don't know the reasoning for it. It could be the lighting. It could be a coincidence. Whatever it is, Steph does not shoot the way he normally does when he's playing at Crypto. So that's just another reason why I want the Warriors at home for that first play-in and not in LA. But regardless, when that play-in comes, two players that I don't know we thought would be having this big of a role for the Warriors this late in the season, Brandin Podziemski, Trayce Jackson-Davis. Trayce Jackson-Davis, I want to start with him just because He got inserted into the starting lineup when Kuminga went down with the bilateral knee tendonitis. And side note, really weird seeing Kuminga without knee braces tonight. I don't, for a player that missed 6 games and just to be out there just just completely raw, that was bizarre. But whatever, he looked fantastic. So as long as he's fine, that's all that matters. But Trayce Jackson-Davis has been inserted into the starting lineup. And tonight was another example of just what he can do, man. You and I were both elated when the Warriors drafted him. We both did our homework and realized that this kid can play. It's incredible he fell to the number 57 spot on the draft. 16 points tonight, 7 rebounds tonight in just 22 minutes of play. He also added, no big deal, just 4 blocks. That's the impact he has. What are you seeing from Trayce Jackson-Davis in terms of his impact on the Warriors? I think it's huge, man.
It's amazing. It took Kerr, a while to get with the program on this. I mean, it was so obvious back in training camp that that this guy offered so much more. I mean, he's a guy with a 40-inch vert who's really smart, who can pass the ball, who understands how to position his body. He can set picks. He can play in the pick and roll game. You can throw him the lob. He defends the rim. I mean, I would say this. I don't know that any team in the history of the NBA that I can remember went into the draft with the 19th pick and the 57th pick and came away with more than Podziemski and TJD. I mean, that's an unbelievable drafting right there. And what it really shows is that, there were a lot of people that were really mad about who was the guy that went next after Podziemski.
Dunker. It was Jaime Jaquez was. Oh no, it was Jalen Hood-Schifino, Jaquez, Cam Whitmore. I think was right after though.
Cam Whitmore, yeah. A lot of people were like, "Hey, how can you not go with Cam Whitmore?" Well, basically, I mean, you got to have guys who have high basketball IQ if they're going to play play for you, especially if you've got a veteran team that relies on ball movement and body movement, and there's guys with expectations. You just can't be some guy with a 42-inch vert who's trying to jam everything. So, I mean, it's nice to have physical gifts, but it's like really, really important that you know how to play the game. They added 2 guys who really know how to play the game. And as the season has gone on, they've been able to lean on these guys and their fresh legs, their youth. And they're 2 of their better rotation players right now. I mean, tonight, Podziemski, how about that one-hand runner at the end of the first half or
first quarter? Yeah, when he hit the 3.
Yeah, I mean, that was a beautiful shot, but I mean, he just plays high percentage ball. He we talked about this a lot. At any level of basketball, high school, college, pro, I don't care if you're talking about, 8th grade. If you rebound, you're going to play. And Podziemski rebounds. So he's going to play. So, and then Trayce Jackson-Davis is just so much better than Kevon Looney. So these guys are going to play, and they're going to play significant minutes, and it's awesome to watch. I mean, it really, Dunleavy and the Warriors went 2 for 2 there.
And this is a stat that they showed on the broadcast tonight. I don't know if you folks can see this on YouTube, but Brandin Podziemski, in terms of rebounds per game by guards, the leader in that category is Luka Doncic, who's having an unbelievable year, by the way. He's averaging 9.2 rebounds per game. Josh Hart, I've always thought he was more of a forward, but he's being counted in this category as a guard, grabbing 8.2 boards per game. Josh Giddey of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the player, by the way, that Steve Kerr wanted in the 2021 draft, but the Thunder snagged him, and so the Warriors got Kuminga, who fell to him. Giddey is third among guards in rebounding with 6.3, and then Brandin Podziemski, the only rookie on this list, he is 4th in the NBA among guards in rebounding, averaging 5.8, ahead of Anthony Edwards, who's averaging 5.6, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averaging 5.5. It is.
I mean, these
remarkable.
are some of the most positive players in the league right now, to be honest. I mean, I think most people who know basketball think Josh Hart is a major, winning type player. So, I think guards that rebound are always going to be appreciated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, he's a tough guy. Like every time Podziemski plays, I find myself always putting myself in the shoes of the opposing player, right? The opposing team who's playing against them. And I'm just trying to feel and see what it's like to play against Podziemski. And the moment I started doing this exercise, I just look at Podziemski and hate him. I would never want to be on the other side. He is like he has that Austin Reeves type of smarts where he's just always in the right place at the right time. He's an irritant. He leads the league in charges. He has, I believe, 36 currently. At least that was through yesterday. He might have gotten more since then. But second on that list is Jalen Brunson. Last time I saw that stat was a day or two ago with 29. He's a tough kid. He's a smart kid. It's such a blessing for the Warriors to have him on their team. His stats tonight, I just want to read these real fast because he was fantastic. He was 6 of 10 from the field. That running three that he made to finish the first quarter was one of 2 threes he made. He was two of 4 from beyond the arc, 50% shooting, grabbed the 7 boards. He also had 6 assists. So this stat line is fantastic, man. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists for Brandin Podziemski. I have one other stat for him as well that I jotted down. This tonight was the 17th time this season that Podziemski has grabbed 5 boards, dished out 5 assists, and scored 10 or more points in a game. 17th time he's done that, and he's a rookie, the youngest player on this team, beating out Kuminga by 3 months. Remarkable. You're absolutely right, man. I don't know if you could have done better considering 19 and 57 on the draft. Remarkable. Any final thoughts, Larry, before we go on to your show, the Krueg Show?
Well, I'm loving those 2 draft picks. They wouldn't be at where they're at right now without those 2 draft picks. But yeah, Podziemski he rebounds, he makes the right play. He has a feel. He also has a tremendous feel for, the egos, the veterans who needs looks. He'll defer at the right time to other guys. He just knows how to play, man. He knows how to play, and he's playing with confidence. And Trace Jackson Davis knows how to play. He's playing with confidence. It's a pleasure to watch, man.
Yeah.
Really, can't wait to see these guys develop.
You're absolutely right, man. Well, we're going to be hosting the Krueg Show real fast. Richard Marquez in the chat wrote, how would you beat the Lakers now? Like who are you rolling with if you're the Warriors when they play Tuesday? Do you have any thoughts on that? We don't know if Wiggins is going to play. A heavy dosage of Kuminga, I think, would be an obvious one. I liked how he held up against LeBron in the last game, the last meeting they had. Any thoughts on what Richard wrote as we finish up the show here?
Well, I mean, once again, back to that message I was talking about before, defend without fouling. Don't give these guys a parade to the foul line. I mean, it just seems like every time Golden State plays the Lakers, the free throw disparity is not even one-sided. It's like borderline absurd.
Yeah.
It can't be absurd. It's like make them earn their shots. I mean, I think I would, understand a lot of the Lakers. I think one of the things about the Lakers that teams don't do well enough is that you kind of know when the shot clock's rolling down who they're going to cycle it to. So take that knowledge and don't allow them to cycle it to AD and to LeBron, or at least make them work to get it back to those guys. If they want to take a chance and move the ball around the floor and get the ball out of those 2 guys' hands, it's going back to those 2 guys as the shot clock ticks down. That's where I would start, overplaying passing lanes and trying to steal passes as they try to work the ball back to those 2 guys for the big money shots. You're muted.
Damn it, I muted myself. I'm sorry. 4 games remaining of the season. That's it. The Warriors are at 43 wins on the year. They had 44 last year, so they're likely going to improve on that mark. Yeah, despite that, they're going to likely also be the 10 seed versus 6 last year. Final scoreboard watch. The T-Wolves lead the Lakers 86-77. We'll know that answer by the time the next show rolls around. Follow us to the Krueg Show. Subscribe to the Krueg Show and follow Larry Krueger on Twitter at SportsLarryK. Go follow me on Threads at DogWild. Larry, love you, man. It's always a pleasure. And I'll see you again in just a second on the Krueg Show. Great to see you. Great to see everyone. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.